Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Knowledge Alchemist, your guide to wealth, success, and optimal health. Unlock the secrets of personal growth, of business strategies, and the world of AI as we embark on this transformative journey together. Join our community, unleash your potential, and make a lasting impact. Get ready to turn your dreams into reality. For today's video, I wanted to show you the development of the YouTube learning script and a little bit of how I've put it together with ChatGPT and stuff. I know I've kind of done a video on this, but there's a little bit of an update to be done. Um, so the first things first, I ended up getting the site, the Knowledge Alchemist, so that we could start creating some blogging content, so that I can document the process in a writing manner, in a blogging manner. I also wanted to make things available in text for people to be able to go grab so that they can use it. So I'm going to be publishing this post, creating a YouTube learning plan, and I'm going to make that available on the blog itself so that when I have these videos, I can kind of link to it. People can go and they can grab the files and stuff like that. So first things first, I basically just wanted to show you that I'm blogging this ultimately because I think the documenting process is pretty interesting, and it's a part of the plan that ChatGPT and I came up with in order to create the Learning Alchemist. So just to catch you up real quick, the big idea here is that I really love to learn. I kind of like to teach, but I love to learn more than anything. But I wanted to create something from everything it is that I'm learning. And ultimately, I ended up learning that I need to have a more active role in the learning. I need to do active learning instead of passive learning. And I need to systematize the process so that it's more like a job where I'm being told kind of like what to do and how to do it. For whatever the reason, I need to have that structure. I make a very good employee. I'm not a very, I'm a good entrepreneur in my mind in the cloud, but when it comes down to doing the work, it's like I need something to tell me what to do. It makes things a lot easier. So with ChatGPT, this has been amazing for me because regardless of how good, how bad you think ChatGPT is and his instructions, it gives me the structure that I need. That's my own personal thing. So I'm just going to read this kind of like real quickly. It just says, like I started the Knowledge Alchemist because I love learning, just like I just finished saying, blah, 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 blah. Because of my love for AI, I've been using ChatGPT to help me create the brand. So I started having a conversation with it by asking it to be my therapist. So I just went to ChatGPT, the conversations that I've been having in here, and I just cut out a little piece. So it was like, hey, like my father talked to me a lot about making money, and it was his dream to have a business and be successful and all these things and blah 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 blah. So I was having a conversation with ChatGPT, and it said, okay, well, why don't we get a list of your interests and we'll turn that into like a content machine. And I was like, cool, that sounds great. So we started working on it. It gave me suggestions for names for this brand and strategies for creating content, and it got right into it. Like ChatGPT is always very interested in helping and kind of just pushing the envelope. Well, no, I guess that's not the right saying, but it wants to do work. It wants to get things done. It's very objective in that way. Um, and this is when I ended up learning that there were two types of learning. There's the active stuff and the passive stuff. And this is important again, just quickly, because passive learning is like you going on YouTube and clicking a whole bunch of videos. You're watching all the videos and you're like, oh my god, like so much information that I'm consuming. But that's all you're doing. You're just consuming information. You're not really learning because you're not putting it into action. You're not doing anything. And that's that part that a lot of us are missing, because all the information is already out there on the internet, and I'm about to prove that to you again with the document that I'm about to show you. Um, but everything's out there. The only difference between people that are successful and people that aren't are just the doers. It's just people that kind of like move things forward. And I mean, I know that there's a whole bunch of other stuff to be complaining about and talking about in what I just finished saying, but let's just stick with the idea here that ultimately, like, really, really smart people end up overthinking and stunting themselves and become perfectionists and run into a whole bunch of kind of like thought process issues, whereas people that are just kind of like play dumb or are dumb or just do the thing that they like doing, over time they end up becoming successful because they drown everyone else out. And this is a constant thing that I've seen. And yes, it does take being smart and getting better and learning and all that stuff, but being a genius does not guarantee you any level of success. It's actually quite lonely and painful because you're always inside of your head and you need to get out of your head. So, and I'm going to prove that again to you in just a second when I show the document, because there's some points in there that are very interesting. Anyway, so I'm having this giant conversation with ChatGPT. I realize that I need to do some active learning. So I told it I'd like to systematize my learning process so that I can document the journey and use this documentation as content on YouTube and a blog. Can you help me do this? So we're at the point now, and this is something that I need to stress so that you understand this. I am currently doing the thing that 2 days ago I didn't know how to do. And I was talking to ChatGPT and I was like, can you help me do this? So it said, certainly, systematizing your learning process, blah, 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 blah. So it gave me some steps on how to do that. So the first thing that it told me to do is to define my learning objective. And because the entire brand of the Knowledge Alchemist is to learn stuff, right? It's like, knowledge and alchemist. It's a proto science. It's not quite, a complete discipline yet. It's a work in progress, and it's about knowledge. So it's like knowledge being the work in progress. It's me as a work in progress, basically, right? Because I like to learn. So it said, define the learning objectives, create a learning plan, then create a schedule, and do these things. So I was like, okay, I started taking this and I started doing that. I started implementing it. Now that I have a system to actively learn, I just needed the path, so I chose YouTube. ChatGPT was on board. So I asked ChatGPT to help me after defining the learning objective, which is to properly do YouTube. I said, give me a learning plan. And so it came out with this list of stuff, okay? Content creation, visual presentation, video editing, and all these things on YouTube. And I instantly realized that these are like really large chapters of a book. So if you picked up a book and it was like how to become a YouTuber, right? But it was like 400 pages. You would expect the content to be broken down into chapters, obviously, in this book. And so in my head, these were the 10 chapters. And so I just picked one. I was like, okay, channel optimization, because it's a spot where I feel like I know some about, but I don't know enough. Like it was just kind of like at a good like tipping point that I could kind of like break myself and learn actively. So I said, okay, take number 6, all right, and I want you to break it down into like more consumable chunks, all right. So the first thing that it did is it said, okay, to break down number 6, I'm going to burp this out, okay? Research the algorithm, learn about SEO, learn about the audience and content strategies and thumbnails. Now keep in mind, this is all relative to channel optimization, right? So you have a channel, it has a certain optimization, like a certain quality on a scale of 0 to 100, right? And your channel is in there somewhere. And obviously, more optimized is better. Less optimized is some crazy channel that people have a hard time finding or watching or being interested in, et cetera, et cetera. So if we're going to optimize the channel, here are the now 10 new things that you're going to want to learn in order to be able to optimize your channel. Now, I haven't finished this post, so I haven't, actually put it on the blog yet. Why am I so burpy this morning? I'm so sorry, guys. But I took this and I put it into a Word document. So where is the learning document? Now, this is the system that I started with, the learning plan. And then the learning plan was to do YouTube. And then it gave me the 10 things. So these are the 10 things here. Research the algorithm, SEO for YouTube, audience insights, right? Let's just say that again right here. Okay. Research the algorithm, SEO, audience insights. So those are the 10 things that I have on this document right here. Okay. So they are in header 1s. And what I ended up doing was I then ended up asking ChatGPT to break those down. Because what it gave me with the 10 pieces was this, right? Audience insights. Utilize YouTube analytics to gain this, identify trends and patterns. Like this is kind of like this summary of how to learn about audience insights, which is how to learn about channel optimization, which is how to learn about YouTube, right? So it started getting really deep, okay? So I put these as header 1s so I understand where they are. And then I took these words and I broke them down. Now I haven't done, yeah, I did do that for all of them, all 10 of them. So when we break this down, it comes into analytics and behavior and demographics and watch time and engagement, and it broke it down into like 9, 10 more items. Number 4, it broke down into 10 more items. So you can understand just how quickly this ended up with me having like 60 things that I've got to learn. But it created this giant book for me to be able to learn YouTube. Now, what I ended up doing was I took it a step further. So let's go to number 1. Okay, let's just do that right here. Okay, so the first piece. Okay, let's go back to ChatGPT just for a second. Okay, well, let's do it from here. Okay, so ChatGPT, just to recap just for a second, gave me right here all of these 10 things to learn YouTube. I took number 6, okay, and I broke that, and it gave me 10 more things for number 6. And then I took this and I was like, okay, listen, at this point, we don't need to break it down into more things, even though I did do that. We need to start learning, okay? So what I ended up doing was when I broke this down, sorry, I didn't break that down. I took this first line. That's what I did. And I searched it. And I searched it on YouTube. So studying the YouTube algorithm, which is this one right here, okay, this piece that I got to start learning, it started telling me kind of like what I got to do anyways. And so I went and I got YouTube videos. I watched all the YouTube videos. I used a little thing that I have for YouTube to get a summary of the video. So it pasted the transcript, and then it starts generating a summary. So I did a whole bunch of work. Let's close this. I did a whole bunch of work with that in order to get key points, which I'm calling the raw data from the videos. So this raw data are just the bullet points that I kind of like broke out of the videos of what people were saying when I searched understanding the key components of YouTube's algorithm. So I literally, that's what I put into YouTube. That's the search term that I used. Okay, it's right here in the document. I got 10 videos. I got the summaries, and I put the summaries into bullet points here. From the raw data, I then cleaned the data. So I put it back into ChatGPT, all right? And I don't remember what I said. I said, like, use, pretend that you are a successful YouTuber and you're trying to help me, a new YouTuber, gain success in this field, okay? And I'm going to give you a whole bunch of advice that I received, and I want you to turn it into chapters in like an organized way, like in a timeline. And then I want you to take all that data and put it into bullet points in those chapters to provide me kind of like an ordered list of this guide. And so now you don't necessarily know this because you haven't seen it yet, but when I clean the data, like I've taken the time to do the work and like go through the raw data, read it all because I watched the videos and stuff, and I've been reading everything. So the raw data, I was looking at it and I was like, there's redundancy in here because out of the 10 videos, everybody talks about click-through rate. Everybody talks about watch time. So I asked ChatGPT, hold on, I'm just going to clear my throat for a second. All right, so I asked ChatGPT to remove the redundancies, et cetera, when I was cleaning the data. So now that I have it cleaned, it put it into chapters, and it should be kind of like in an organized manner. So I read through the raw data, I went through the clean data, and it is in order. So chapter number 1 is just to get started on YouTube. Okay. Chapter number 2 is to understand the algorithm a little better. Chapter number 3, it wants you to understand click-through rate. Then it wants you to understand retention, and then it's telling you to optimize. Then it starts talking about monetization and then nurturing the channel. Now I want you to understand that even though that this is all about optimizing the channel and to optimize it, the first thing that we were learning was the algorithm. So this should all be algorithm-based information. What I got from the videos, keep in mind, was not necessarily people talking only about the algorithm. When they were having the conversation about the algorithm, they were talking about having consistency and listening to your audience, and they were telling you how to manipulate and play with the algorithm and make better videos in general, as a generalization. And so as they were going through their own thoughts and their systems about the algorithm, because a lot of the videos were very much about like algorithm stuff, so I'll just we'll go, yeah, I'm on the right channel. So if I go to my history, um, so where did I start? Probably about here-ish. If I start, so when I searched about the algorithm, when I put that one search term in, I got, Ali Abdaal, who was saying like, if I started a YouTube channel in 2023, I'd do this. So yes, he's very much talking about the algorithm when he's having the conversation in this video, but he's touching other subjects, right? So just keep that in mind. Anyways, so that being said, the breakdown for the algorithm does include stuff about nurturing the channel and stuff about monetization, even though that it's not necessarily to do with the algorithm. So this information at a certain point, now that it's organized into a guide, a timeline guide, or like an ordered guide from these search terms, is likely going to be able to be used not in the algorithm, but maybe in SEO, like monetization. Okay, I'm sure that there's a part here: content strategy, thumbnails, video engagement, community building, collaboration, policies, guidelines, experiments. Yeah, see, where would monetization fit into? Maybe it didn't really tell me to learn about monetization in the original 10 items. So that's something to watch out for, because that kind of makes me look like a doofus here if it's not telling me to learn about monetization, like strategies, content strategy, video content calendar, frequency, access and optimization. Yeah, it doesn't really talk about monetization. So like from the original 10 items to learn YouTube, it doesn't really talk about how to make money. Mind you, I never asked. You know what? Actually, the truth is, I think it did do its job, and I'll tell you why. Here's my argument. I never asked it how to make money. I asked it how to become a successful YouTuber, and so that's, a successful YouTuber maybe in its eyes does not include monetization. It's just about being able to make better videos, good videos, videos that people watch, which obviously for us leads to monetization. If this is obviously what we're looking for, I mean, I don't know who. Oh, monetization and policies, anyways, under policy and guidelines. So explore the policies for the program, learn the criteria, content restrictions to monetize video. So it does kind of touch the topic a little bit, but anyways, so that's all good. So raw data, then clean data, and there's all the parts of the clean data in the chapters. So now that I've cleaned the data for the algorithm, which was to study the YouTube algorithm, the next thing is to start going over the factors influencing recommendations. So what I'm going to end up doing, technically I missed a point in the other one, but just to continue the video, I'm going to take this, right? I'm going to put that into YouTube. I'm going to watch 10 videos. I'm going to get all the summaries. I'm going to pull the raw data. I'm going to put the links in here. I'm going to put the raw data in here. I'm going to clean up the data, and then I'm going to have those chapter pieces to be able to, properly understand factors that influence the recommendation system, which the first thing is to identify variables that impact the recommendations, such as user behavior, engagement metrics, and video data. And there is a possibility that in the clean data from the algorithm, we're going to be having that conversation because it's a part of the algorithm. But nonetheless, I think that when I am done this document, and as long as I continue to kind of document what I'm doing here, clean it up, this thing is going to be freaking massive, and it's going to serve as a way for people who want to become YouTubers to have a very specific and broad view, not an experienced or professional's perspective necessarily, even though that I'm getting it from the professionals, people with a million plus views. Um, but it'll definitely serve as a guideline, anyways. And then on top of that, with the links and the extra data and all this stuff, I mean, I think it's going to be a fantastic resource. So I'll make that available for people as I go along. And the interesting thing about all of this is that while reading all of this stuff, I get to understand it better because I'm making YouTube videos, and this is my learning on how to make better YouTube videos. So yeah. So anyway, so that's what I wanted to say about this video. Now I gotta go check out my system to create descriptions and YouTube titles and all that stuff and the thumbnails. So anyways, I've got some work ahead of me. So I'll see you guys on the next one.